This is the story of Noah's Ark in the Bible in Genesis chapters 6 through 9.
God saw that there was wickedness in the world, and he knew that he wanted to send a flood to wipe out all of mankind. So he decided to call upon Noah because he was a righteous man, and God told him to build an ark.
Noah, build an ark for you and your family.
The ark that God called Noah to build had specific parameters and divine instruction.
Noah took pairs of every animal onto the ark, and along with him he took his wife, his 3 sons, and their families.
Once the ark was built, God opened up the heavens, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights.
Once it stopped raining, Noah sent out a dove, and the dove came back because there was nowhere for him to land.
A few days later, Noah tried again and sent out a dove. The dove came back with an olive branch, and he knew that the waters were beginning to subside.
This time, Noah sent out a 3rd dove. This dove did not come back because the waters had subsided enough for the bird to land. Then, Noah knew he would be able to find land.
Once Noah found land, he sacrificed an offering to God. When God smelt his offering, he remembered Noah and regretted the flood. He made a covenant with Noah that he would never again destroy his creation with a flood and sealed it with a rainbow. Starting his new life, Noah planted a vineyard and produced wine. One night Noah became drunk, and Ham, his youngest son, saw him. His older sons helped him recover, and when Noah realized what had happened, he cursed Ham and his line of the family.
At 950 years, Noah died.
The word used in the Bible during God's covenant to Noah are translated in many English versions to rainbow, simply because it is well known that rainbows appear after rain. Therefore, it would be scientifically accurate. Yet the Hebrew word used is found in other occurrences in war situations in the Bible. Therefore, many scholars believe that the word translates directly to bow, as in warrior's bow. The same word is found in Genesis 27:3, used in the context of hunting game, therefore deferring it as a strong weapon. The word is also used in victorious war situations. This explanation can change many's interpretation of God's rainbow to a peaceful covenant into a symbol of God's everlasting victory and power over his creation, yet his decided mercy over us.
Noah's Ark is a mix between 2 stories. One story of Noah's Ark comes from the US source, also known as the J source, and in this source, God was referred to as Yahweh. And the flood lasted 40 days and 40 nights. On the ark, Noah took with him a pair of every unclean animal and 7 pairs of the clean animals. On the other hand, in the Priestly source, source P, God was referred to as Elohim, and the flood lasted 150 days. Also, in the P source, it is stated that Noah only took 1 pair of every animal. Due to these parallels and gaps within the story, Noah's Ark is a famous piece for source criticism.
We are not completely sure when Genesis was written because there is no time reference on any documentation, but the flood narrative in Genesis 6 through 9 contains very close similarities to the Epic of Gilgamesh, Tablet 11 from the 21st century BCE, and the Epic of Atrahasis from the 17th century BCE. Therefore, many conclude that the narrative was written during a time when both of these epics were shared.
The Epic of Gilgamesh was written in the Artifact of the Deluge tablet, which had origins in Mesopotamia and is written in Akkadian. The god in the Epic of Gilgamesh tells Utnapishtim to build a boat with precise dimension. He follows the directions of God and builds the boat and boards his family and all of the animals from the field. When the storm comes, it floods for 6 days and 6 nights and turns all of the humans into clay except for those on the ark. During the flood, the gods wept and were scared of the storm because of the damage that was being done. After the flood recedes, Utnapishtim releases birds one at a time to go find land. First, he sends a raven, and the raven returns because there is no land. Then, he sends a swallow, and it comes back with the same results. The last bird he sends is a dove, and the dove returns with an olive branch, showing that there is proof of land. After the flood, the gods vow to never forget the flood and the destruction that it had on earth. Utnapishtim is then granted immortality for his bravery.
The story of Atrahasis was written in Akkadian and is a well-known Babylonian epic. In Tablet 3, there consists a parallel to the flood narrative we read in Genesis. The story starts with the gods becoming annoyed with the people they created to do their work because of the noise they make. In order to destroy the noise of humans, the king of the gods, Enlil, sends a flood to kill all of the people. One of the gods, Enki, takes pity on the humans and informs the man, Atrahasis, to save himself and the animals with a boat. In order to subdue the anger of the king of the gods, Enki decides to propose a solution of fast repopulation in that some women are less fertile.
The main difference of these stories is that the Bible has monotheism and both Gilgamesh and Atrahasis have polytheism. Monotheism is the worship of one god, and polytheism is the worship of multiple gods. In the Bible, God's reasoning for the flood was that God saw evil in mankind. But in Gilgamesh and Atrahasis, the gods were annoyed by the noise of the humans. Even though there's a similarity of the God in the story regretting the flood and in the Bible narrative, God regrets the flood because of his compassion for his creation, while the gods in Atrahasis and Gilgamesh regret the flood because of their need for food and work that they supply. After the flood in the Bible narrative, God makes a covenant with Noah and seals it with a rainbow, while in Atrahasis, the gods create more strife for the humans.
Because many biblical scholars believe that Genesis 6 through 9 is a myth, many question why we include it into the Bible when many perceive it as a complete truth. The story of Noah consists of many important associations to a Christian lifestyle. These could include an example of God's immense power shown through the capability of a defining flood. It shows God's love and grace to his creation, ending with his promise to Noah for no other reason than his compassion. There is an example of God's ability to have a call on our lives for his greater purpose, just as he calls the righteous Noah. And finally, there's an example of God's presence through hard times, such as his presence with Noah in the storm.